Emerald Bruises is a continuation of the Jewelry Box series. If you haven't read Ruby Tears or listened to our episode featuring Ruby Tears, we recommend you do so before continuing, as Emerald Bruises will pick up right where we left off. This episode might be wild.
A lot happened. So it's funny because we mentioned at the end of the last episode how we're like, how much you want to bet? The books could go either way. They're either going to drag or they're going to be like Speed Racer. And this shit was, it started off with a bang. Like this shit started.
And it just kept going.
And it just kept going.
It just kept going.
Holy shit.
And now I need the next one.
Yeah. So I liked, I'll discuss it at the end. I liked this book better than the first one.
Oh, of course, because the first one was just setting the stage.
I know. There's so much
that
happened.
For me too. But because the setting the stage books aren't always for me, but I knew that you just had to hold on and get there. But yeah. So welcome back to another exciting episode.
Exciting for who?
For us, I guess.
No, I don't
know.
Never letting that go. I'm sorry. If we get canceled over anything, it's going to be the fact that we can't let shit go and we just continuously bring stupid shit up.
Anyways.
Am I wrong?
This week we read Emerald Bruises by Pepper Winters, and we are so excited because this is book 2 in the Jewelry Box series, and we got to read Ruby Tears last time. That was book 1, and Emerald Bruises picks up right where Ruby Tears left off. So last time we left off on a cliffhanger.
When we didn't even get to see the Ruby Tears happen.
I know, we were like, what the truck? So
I mean, this
it's okay.
Kind of the same way. So
I know.
You know what though? I kind of like it though. Like I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Because then it makes the next book start off with a bang. I am very much talking like a chipmunk right now because I have a bagel shoved in my cheek. Also, side note, we don't have chipmunks in Florida. They're not a thing. It's very weird.
Interesting.
We have
so a child could go their whole life without knowing what a chipmunk is. Weird.
I mean, Google's free, but you know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Little bit of housekeeping. Last time we talked about how we're dumb Americans, and I emailed Pepper a question regarding the whole divorce comment because, at least in the United States, we use it very kind of seriously. It's only like kind of a marriage thing. And so I was just curious if it was kind of more of a slang thing in other places, because it seemed like that's how it was used. And I just kind of wanted clarification. And she did answer after we recorded. So I wanted to follow up with, yes, in a lot of places it is used as slang, and it can be any relationship just as a slang for a breakup. So I was glad to get that clarification.
That's good.
Because I was like, that's weird. They're not married. little bit of housekeeping. Anyways, yeah. So last time we left off when Ruby Tears was about to begin. Henry and Illy had tried to sneak into Victor's office to be able to send a signal to Q. They were on board. They were together, united front. They were caught by Peter and Victor. Peter, that fuckwit, drugged Illy because Victor decided to play the game Ruby Tears, and Peter knows what that meant. Illy had been very clear that she cannot do any kind of drugs. She has bad reactions. Peter didn't give a fuck. He thought she needed it. So they went into the room that Ruby Tears is done in, which is basically a dead fucking zoo.
She even calls it a dead zoo in the first
this
chapter.
Book. Yep. And she's tripping out of her fucking mind. Victor makes Henry drink until he's drunk. They're both nutso.
Blasted.
Yes. Victor tells Henry that he is to make Illy bleed for the game, and he is to get 102 Ruby Tears or drops of blood out of her to complete the game. And he's trying his best to fight off the liquor, but since she's drugged out of her mind and everyone looks like nutso animals, she ends up kicking him in the face hard, and everything just fractures. Not his actual face, but like his insides. And he just lets go, and he's ready to play. That's where we fucking left off. Bam.
Yeah.
Welcome to Emerald Bruises.
Henry.
Yeah. So Emerald Bruises starts out with a dedication. And this book's dedication is to all those lovers of morally gray heroes, the shades of darkness, the sometimes wrong, and their constant struggling to stay good, to stay decent, to do the right thing, only to shiver in ecstasy when they go bad.
And boy, did that
Boy, do
hit the
they go
nail on the
bad.
head for this book. Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm going to be upfront and honest. This book was a roller coaster for me. I had so many feelings and so many emotions, and I didn't know how I felt for 90% of it. I knew I felt loads of things, but I didn't know how to sift through and name them. It was just a lot.
So much went on in this book.
And the characters went through so much that it was hard to almost pick whose team you were on
Yeah, yeah. Because
and
we'll
who
get
was
there.
good and who was not. And
But
yes, it just, yeah.
Illy continues to do things that irritate me. I mean, really, come on. And then Peter kind of,
I
I
don't know.
I felt
I
so
don't know.
bad.
I know. And then I was mad at myself for feeling bad because Peter. But then, yeah, we'll get there. Oh, it
End of episode. You're welcome.
was everything. No.
This is our original time. We didn't do anything. Just
If you,
our, oh
if
my
you
God,
were,
and this.
if you're an OG, that was the OG.
Oh, good Lord.
Now, back to the regularly scheduled programming.
I'm gonna just drink my coffee and just shut the fuck up.
So, back where we left off, drugged Illy is on the cross in the dead zoo. And Victor tells Henry to choose a weapon. There's a table laid out with all these like rusty, gross looking devices and knives. And it definitely does not look sanitary or hygienic. And he's like, I'd rather use this.
And then whips out his knife that, if you don't remember from
His
the last
pocket
book,
knife.
it is there.
Well, so Illy like had a moment of clarity. And she's like, no, don't show him. Don't reveal that. No, please, no. Like, and I'm just like, oh, drunken Henry,
This bitch
no.
is tripping hard and like,
But she's going in and out of
it's
like,
a wild fucking experience to read.
yeah. So, obviously he can't
Pepper,
sift
did you do
through.
drugs for this? Like, how did you get this? This is wild.
How is the research done for this now? And
We don't
he is
condone
not
that.
having those moments of lucidness. So he's just takes it out of his pocket and like,
No,
this is what
because
I
he
want to
has
use.
had such fucking clarity after that kick to the face that he's just like, let's just unleash the beast.
And she's like, no. And Victor's like, you brought a knife into my home? And he's like, why? And Henry's like, for protection. And he's like, from what? It's like, from you. He's so fucking drunk, honest. And he's like, why? He's like, I don't remember. My mind is quiet now. I'm free. I'm finally like just peaceful. And Victor's like, you're finally waking up.
Basically,
And
exactly what Victor wanted him to be, and what he's kind of been pushing him since the first book, like to really step into who he is as a person, because Victor can see it, and Victor's a psychopath.
so Victor hands him a pipette and tells him to use the pipette dropper and count each droplet of blood that you draw from her. 102, don't forget. And Henry's like, I feel invincible. Like, this is amazing. And despite Illy's like obvious distress and in and out of clarity and drugged stupor, because she keeps seeing him as this like winged beast and this like crazed maniac and all these
drugs are doing
creatures
a
and
lot of shit in her brain.
yeah, he starts slicing and he slices her neck, and then that's 4 drops, and he takes those 4 drops of blood and wipes them across his neck to give them that connection. And he keeps doing this on her wrists, her chest, her stomach, her ankles, her knees.
And each time he does it, he is getting like, you know,
And each time he is wiping the same spot on himself to create that connection in his mind.
I should have known it was coming, but I fucking hate blood plays so much, and it's so gross.
I mean, in reality, he didn't take that much from her.
Yeah, okay. Cue
So
Olivia Rodrigo.
then he cuts her thigh in the same spot, the same kind of way that he has his scar. So they have the same. And then that is his 102 drops. He says, Victor, I'm done with your game. And he decides that he needs to taste her because he is done. And he says, she might hate me, but her body loves me because she's clearly reacting to this, even though she's not happy about it. And she doesn't really quite 100% understand it in her drugged state either. And he uncuffs one of her legs to fuck her. And he goes at it. And he thinks that they have this like amazing connection. And like he even, when he cut her chest, he cut marks to create the flower of life pattern of the pendant that she wore when she first got there that got taken from her, that her brother had given to her. Like he remembered the pendant that she wore and put it back on her chest.
He also
And
licks
like
her blood from her thigh, okay? Like a goddamn vampire.
like a goddamn vampire. And then that's how she sees him in her like drugged state, like he's this like crazed vampire. And when they both kind of are done, Victor's kind of like, well done. Are you finally free? And Henry's like, I feel fantastic. I feel like eating a steak, which, okay.
Because he hasn't really been able to eat much
No,
this whole time. And it's huge because now he's like,
he's been
I'm actually
nauseous this
fucking
whole time. And yeah,
starving. Because every time he thinks he's going to give into his like baser instincts of what he wants, he gets super sick and nauseous and throws up. And so he hasn't really been able to eat. But now that he's free, man, he's starving. He wants
and
a
he
goddamn
sated
steak.
his hunger for her. So now he needs to sate his hunger for food.
A rare
So
steak, even at that.
yeah,
Like,
well, like a goddamn vampire.
good Lord. That's a cannibal.
So Victor is all like, Peter, take Illy to Dr. Belford, and we will go wake the chef to celebrate. And I am just sitting here like, what the fuck, Henry? What are you doing?
That was my thought process.
Those first two chapters, I was like, Pepper, what are you doing to me? You're
Because
hurting my soul.
you really love Henry in the last book because he's still holding on to his humanity and the good parts of his soul. But then after this, that man's just like, nah, fuck that.
He's like, this is way easier. I'm clear
I'm
headed. I
happy.
can take what I want with no repercussions. And I was like, but Henry. And I know the pepper will get me there, but it doesn't hurt. The soul wrenching. Oh,
It doesn't what the soul wrenching? You said hurt the soul wrenching. Wouldn't it be help the soul wrenching?
I thought I said help.
You said hurt.
Oh,
Feel like it
doesn't
doesn't
help.
hurt.
It does hurt.
It
It
does
hurts
hurt.
a lot.
Yeah. This is when Henry goes just off the rails for a long time.
Yeah.
If you thought
So,
that he had humanity in the last book, think again. It's gone.
well, we have to remember this is book 2 of 4.
Oh, I know.
We have to keep that in mind.
So if you like just a dude who's like, nah, fuck being a good dude, let's just be a bad dude, this is for you. You want a guy who's like, oh, I had
It's a
morals, but I'm good
bad
now.
guy.
Yeah, literally. Oh man. Fuck morals, who needs them? Not me.
So Peter and Illy head off to Dr. Belford, and Peter is very clear with Dr. Belford that she is to have no drugs ever, and it's to be put in her file. And he's all upset because he's like, she's still suffering. It's all my fucking fault.
Because now she's
I shouldn't,
catatonic.
right. I shouldn't have forced her to take it. I thought I was protecting her. She's like so sucked into herself and she's so tripping bad, and he's just not. So they only have 2 hours left to sleep before they have to be at the morning like roll call thing or whatever.
Mhm.
And so they head back to their little jewel area. Peter brings her into this like little vault room, where, surprise, surprise, all the pieces of jewelry that have been taken from the jewels as they've come in are kept there. And it's in plain sight. It's in their kind of quarters. It's kind of like a tease almost. Like you can see it, but you can't touch it kind of thing. But he wants her to see and touch what belongs to her because he's hoping it's going to snap her out of whatever state she's in and give her
Yeah, because she
something
has
to fight
not
for.
spoken and she's just basically disassociated and nothing because the drugs are still in her system, but that whole situation just literally broke her. She's dead inside.
And she's still hallucinating, but through her hallucinating, luckily she does see in one of the baskets her pendant from her brother. And then all of a sudden, it says, the pressure inside me, the tears I refused to shed, they didn't get worse or better. But then the crack in my heart gorged, agonizingly wide. An earthquake shook me, a soul shake, a heartbreak. A crack became a chasm, and my spirit fell out, screaming. I gagged on despair and fear and loss. I reached for my pendant, and I broke. I didn't cry, I sobbed. And she just screamed and sobbed and just kept crying and crying and just released it all.
Gotta come out one way or the other.
Right. Meanwhile, Henry is sobering up from all that food. You know, you read the
Ariel
first
struggled
two
so hard with this
chapters.
man.
Well, you read the first two chapters and you're like, okay, he was drunk out of his mind. He just gave in to the temptation. When he sobers up, he'll feel bad. He'll be okay.
LOL.
But that is not what happened.
A real life LOL. Just kidding. No, he doesn't know. None of that happens.
He
He's like,
fucking
you know what? This
sobered.
is great. I feel fantastic.
He says, a terrified part of my psyche kept waiting for me to revert, to snap back into the weak, sniveling bastard who'd suffocated me my entire life, for the hero to beat back my villain and shove me into another worthless cage. I'd gone most of my life suffering sickness that could spring from nowhere, and after tonight, I couldn't quite trust that I was cured. And he's sitting there and he's like, waiting for something to happen, and he's like, no nausea, nothing, no regret, no remorse. I'm changed. I'm free.
And this is when Ariel died.
He's like, all my life I'd been so afraid of personal acceptance that I'd built up a fantasy that the day I became who I truly was the day I died for good. But I didn't die tonight. I'd metamorphosized. I'd shrugged off the ill-fitting chrysalis, and now I flew. And I was like, Pepper, what are you doing to me? My soul.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
Illy wakes, yeah. Illy wakes up
Yep.
in the jewel room in a pile of living jewels. And
That's people, guys.
yeah,
The jewels didn't actually come to life and like sprout legs
despite
and
her
stuff, but like,
despite her drugged state,
I mean, what a wild experience that would have been.
they were all woken by her screaming and wailing and sobbing, and they came to support her, and they all
They did a
fell
little cuddle
asleep
puddle.
in a cuddle huddle. Yeah.
I liked mine better, cuddle puddle.
Well, they're all huddled together,
I
just
know, but it's still a puddle of cuddles. Sorry.
and she finally gets a good look at all of them because there's 30 slaves on the estate. And she realizes that there's so many things that these people have gone through. Some of them are missing fingers, some of them are missing limbs, some of them are missing ears, some of them have the most brutal looking scars. Like these people have gone through some shit living here. And she's like sitting there sifting through the night before and she just feels devastated. She feels betrayed, of course, but most of all, she feels guilty because he asked her not to fight him and she fought. He begged her not to fight him and made her promise, and she'd forgotten in her drug state and broken that promise. And she is sitting there knowing that the blame is not entirely his fault because they got there together. So it's a new day. She's like, they're both out of their stuff. They can start again. It's okay. They both have a lot to make up for, but it's a new day. Sorry, Illy, but I don't think that's what's happened. So, Peter.
Yes.
Peter continues to be way too overprotective of her. And it's
Mhm.
clear that he is, but even the Jules, it's clear to them that he is trying to shield her more than anyone else. And it's like, dude, get it together. She doesn't want you. She's just trying to fight for her fucking life here.
You
Whatever.
don't like Peter.
Like, dude. And he's kind of trying to get her to see that you have to have your eyes open after last night. Like, you have to see him for what he is now. And then he fucking kisses her. And Illy is like, what the fuck? And
Yeah.
because Illy does not have any feelings for him whatsoever.
Yeah. It's just a small one on the
Just a little
mouth,
peck.
but right
Yeah.
in front of all the jewels.
Right.
And
And they're
so,
like,
like,
fuck.
everyone is
And
like,
he
takes
just
like,
tries to like pass it off, like, oh, it's just a friendly thing, but like, no.
yeah, it's not great. Not a good thing.
And since they were all huddled together on the jewel room floor, they weren't in their beds at wake up call and all that stuff. So
Now they're late,
now they're late for breakfast.
which is not great, by the way.
No. And Victor is not happy when they arrive. He's not happy that they're late. He's not happy why they're late. He's not happy about a lot of things. And he goes on this long winded speech about them being late. And he's just like, now, the skin sandwich I can tolerate. Everyone needs some comfort once in a while, and I'm not such a harsh master to deny you a platonic hug now and again. However, I saw a kiss that shouldn't have happened, and my guests were inconvenienced by you all being late. 23 minutes to be exact. Whatever shall I do with you? And he's like, Henry, you should decide. After all, the kiss involved the jewel you paid so handsomely for. And Henry's like, excuse me? Illy kissed someone? And he is pissed. And he just automatically
He
dagger eyes
knows.
at Peter.
He
Yeah. He's
knows.
like, I told you what would happen if you ever touched her.
Yep.
And he gets the little clicky thing that electrocutes the collar. And he's like, is this what you had in mind, Victor? And Victor's just kind of looking at him amusingly. And he's like, I'll answer your question, but first you need to answer some of mine. All of a sudden, he can feel the shift. Like he's the one on trial here.
Mhm.
And he's like, what the fuck? So Victor has a remote and he clicks it. And all of a sudden, a screen is revealed. They're going to be watching something. Oh, how fun.
I was so uncomfortable reading this because I knew the things that were going to happen. And I was like, oh God, no.
All of a sudden on the screen is the moment where Henry has Illy in the library and he's whispering in her ear. And Henry's like, dude, we've already been over this. Like, what's going on? And he's like, indulge me. Just let's go on a journey. And he's like, you said this was part of your fetish, just kind of mind games with her, right? Okay, I'll accept that. But what about this? And it's another part of the video in the library, and he's like nuzzling against her neck and like drinking her tears and all that, and clearly talking to her. And he's like, it's just a game. Like, I like your tears. And
Sadness gets him hard.
he's like, yeah, right.
I mean,
And he's like, I told her. And Victor's like, I want Illy to tell me. And Illy's like, well, he told me that he wanted to make me his in every possible way, to tear me apart, to bleed me, to drink from me, to drink every drop, which is exactly what Henry told Victor the last time they had this conversation. So Victor's like, that's weird. That's almost verbatim, as if you were
almost
reading
like
from
you're
a
all reading from
script.
a script. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Just, okay.
And then he's like, okay, next. And the next one is him throwing up. And Victor's like, were you throwing up from fucking your jewel or from giving me $2 million? Which was it?
He's more so like,
And,
anytime that I wanted to give into these things, I threw up.
and he's like, neither. He's like, my guts have always been sensitive. I told you that last night. I guess you could say my body took it upon itself to keep me from straying. And then he's like, so this is you purging the darkness of rape? And he's like, it was not rape. When I whispered to her, I might have said some things to make her play along with me. And he's like, I told her if she behaved, I wouldn't let anyone else have her. I asked her to trust me, that everything I did was for the greater good. And he's like, so that's why she went from a psycho to an obedient little toy so quickly. And so I'm sure you have an equally understandable explanation for this then. It's a still of a video of him leaning against the bathroom door where he was like sleeping in the bathroom when he was trying to give them space. And he's like, I wanted things I still wasn't prepared to accept. I was exhausted by the struggle. I needed space. She was in my bed. The bathroom had the only privacy. It's like, oh, there's only 3 more tiny things. Don't worry. I suggest you keep being honest. And the guards kind of shift forward a little bit. And he's like, what is going on? And he's like, are you planning on shooting me because it took me a day to accept who I am? He's like, no, I'm shooting you because I can't get a read on you. I know you're telling me the truth about what you want. I saw it from my own eyes, how much you enjoy playing Ruby Tears. You're not faking your needs, nor are you gagging on the actual act, but you are keeping things from me. And he's like, my point is this. And he does the next video. And it's him and Illy in the bed. And he turns the volume way up. And they're whispering. And you can only hear little fragments, but it's, we both have to use you again, possibly in room, play up for cameras. I won't treat you kindly when show, if you, then use me right here. No regrets. And he's like trying to hold that thought, Henry. And then he's got another one of them at the door before they were about to leave for Victor's office. And it's saying, yes, guards, lazy. Anyone thinks I was roaming the dark. Ride will be here, be over. The sound quality is filled with static, but you can hear those little words. And then the most condemning part is the Illies. I'd rather you hurt me. This is bigger. It's them, those slaves. You can't let them down. Victor's like, I'll let you in on a secret. I was going to kill you last night. That paperwork I was doing so late, that was this. I was up late because of you. It took all my fucking willpower not to shoot you in the corridor. But I decided to see how deep you'd entrench yourself, and somewhere along the way you made me doubt. Again! And the moment I think I know who you are, you become someone else. And I'm truly fucking sick of being played for a fool. And Henry's like, you're not a fool. And he's like, you entered my home and went behind my back in every possible way. And he's like, sorry, I'm a little frustrated with the lack of respect. Shall we watch the final video? And it's back in the library. And the audio is crackling, the static, the scuffling. And it's Illy gasping with the words, undercover? To come? Sent? Jules? You're a cop? And the whole place goes wild. Guards come and put guns against his head. Like, any last words, Henry? And Henry just says, I didn't lie. Not to you anyway. And Victor's like, I'll let you speak one last time. And Illy is still like on Henry's side because the guests are all jeering and chanting for Victor to kill him and shoot him. And she's like, no, don't. And he's like, I'm not a cop. He's like, I don't believe you. I was like, I asked her to play along with me. I told her not to fight back and I'd get her out of here. I told her I'd been sent to free your slaves by doing whatever is necessary. That I believe. I told her for me to achieve such things, I had to wait for backup to arrive, and that meant me having to pretend. I confessed that even while I pretended to be abusive, I wouldn't enjoy it. And she went along with it. She did. If that's true and you don't give a damn about her, then this won't bother you. And he's like, Roland, grab Illy and bring her here. Now, Roland is the jackass from the beginning of the first book who he definitely did not want to touch Illy. And Illy still has hope shining through for Henry and who he is.
Oh,
So
boy.
she was nearby and easily able to be scooped up
You need
by
to
Roland.
temper your expectations real quick. Oh boy.
And he's like, you think watching someone fuck her is going to make me confess that I'm a cop? He's like, I think watching Roland fuck her in front of you will force you to admit the truth. Especially if I promise to stop him if you merely admit that you're a snitch and a rat and a motherfucking dead man. He's like, ah, gotcha. He's like, I told you I'm not a cop. And so Roland's trying his best to subdue her. And now Henry's getting mad. And he's like, I am not a cop. And if he sticks his dick in her, I'm going to be extremely pissed off. She's mine. We had a deal. And he's like, deals have a habit of expiring when one of the people is a conniving snake. He's like, I told you I'm not a fucking cop. And he punches Roland. And Roland just
So great.
falls like a domino. One
Yep.
punch. That's all it took. He's like, he must have had a glass chin because 1 second he was standing, the next he was out cold. So Victor just lines up another man. He's like, okay, Larry, you do it. And he's like, if you even think of hitting the next one, I will shoot you and be done with it. He's like, I admit I was sent. My task was to find out where your estate was and rescue your slaves. He's like, how could you be tasked if you're not law enforcement? He's like, I had a different kind of overlord, but I'm no longer loyal to him. You have my word. I'm not a cop. And he's like, who sent you?
This was not the direction I thought this book was going in, and holy
Not at
fuck.
all.
Buckle up, guys. Put your seatbelts on. Get ready.
And he's hesitating, and Victor's just like, just do it, to the guy who finally had the balls to take Ellie. And Henry's like, out of curiosity's sake, what would I have to do to stop all this? Victor's like, nothing. You betrayed me, came into my home under false pretenses, and thought you could take me down. Is your name even Henry Ward?
It's like, no.
No, yeah.
Full
He's like,
on
what?
just fucking
Right.
convinced. He goes, no.
He's like, Ward is not my
No.
last name. He's like, if it's too much of a fucking inconvenience, Henry, what is your real name? And why should I care?
He's like, oh, you should care.
Right. He's like, order him to stop and I'll tell you everything. I promise you'll want to hear what I have to say. He's like, you're right. I was sent here by someone. I've admitted that a few times now. I was ordered to report to your location, count your slaves, and summon mercenaries to slaughter you. I did my best to do what I was tasked with and tried to ignore the allure of this place and pretend I wasn't seduced by the very real, very uncomfortable realization that I'm more like you than I wanted to admit. More like you than him, anyways. Him? My brother. Ah, yes, the suspense is killing me.
Oh my God. And I'm like, I'm sitting here like, Henry,
Like,
no,
no,
please
right?
don't. Shit, touched my face.
He's like, fuck you and your dramatic delays, Ward. Get to the point. He's like, I like it here. I like who I am. He's like, how nice. Put that in the review book. He's like, I like owning Illy. I like being me. I don't want to die. I want to live, Vic. I want to stay. I am what you see. You weren't wrong. And I wasn't acting. I'm a sadistic son of a bitch. And I can actually accept that now, thanks to you. He's like, lies. Truth. I want to stay, not just for the weekend or a single month. I want to stay forever. I want that lifetime membership. And in order for you to trust me, I'll tell you who I really am. I'm Henry Mercer, brother to Q Mercer, and it's a pleasure to officially meet you. And if we thought chaos was the cop part, this is when true chaos erupted.
Yeah.
Now Illy actually runs to Peter because nope.
Ugh. God damn it. Like, I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
And Henry literally confesses fucking everything to Victor.
Yep.
Tells him how he was sent, how he befriended Roland first, tells him about the cufflinks, the GPS trackers. Illy is just like shattering piece by piece and confession by confession. And Victor, on the other hand, is getting amused piece by piece. And he's
great.
like, and then so he finds out about the money and how Q set him up a bank account. And he's like, what? Q fucking Mercer paid me, a trafficker he's been trying to stop for years, 2 million euros for a slave? This is too perfect.
God damn, Henry.
And he's like, how much money did your brother give you to oil your way into my confidence? And Henry's like, 30 million. And pin drop. And he's like, how much is your life worth to you, Henry Mercer? What would you be willing to pay to survive? Henry's like, to survive, not a single penny, but to thrive, I'll give you everything.
He has snapped. Ariel, how much did this break you? A little bit.
A little bit. I was sad. Like, I know we're going to get there. I have trust and I have faith that we're going to get there, but I was sad.
Yeah.
I was sad. Victor's like, you and I have another date in my office. If you can prove you are who you say you are, then you can thank me for my benevolence by gifting me every euro Q Mercer gave to you. You do that, and I'll give you a home for life. This doesn't mean you're off the hook. It just means you won't die today. You're on probation. And Henry's like, maybe one day we can be friends now that this nasty business is behind us.
No.
It's like, I guess time will tell. No more thinking you can be both monster and saint. It's like, way ahead of you. Last night was my awakening.
I hate it. God damn it.
So he grabs up Illy and I should probably introduce you to my true self, the master you now belong to. And Victor's like, hold that thought. We still have the matter of identity confirmation and payment before she's yours again. And Henry's like, I want to make a bargain. He's like, a bargain? I just let you live. It's like, I will give you everything Q gave me. I won't begrudge a single euro. All I'm asking is for full ownership of Illy. And your agreement, no one else will touch her. And he just stares at him for a long time. And then he completely changes the subject. And he goes, before we go up to my office, there's a simple matter of discipline. And he's like, fuck, what now? Like, punish who? He's like, my jewels, of course. He's like, Henry's going to do it. And he's like, how do you want me to do it? Like, use your imagination. But I expect you to do all of them in one swoop for being late and for the kiss. And he's like, does the remote allow you to shock more than one at a time? It's like, if they're touching, like they enjoyed so much this morning, I say we return the favor. So they have them all line up together, touching, and he shocks them all. He's like, you really shouldn't have kissed her. So Victor tells Peter to arrange for a scavenger hunt. Peter doesn't look happy about this, and then he asks him about the drugs. Yeah, he's like, by the way, were you in any way responsible for Illy's strange condition last night? He's like, I'm aware of your illicit apothecary. He's like, I'm not going to punish you or take away the pills. I tolerate it because you're always a good fuck when on them, but you need to be careful and not fuck shit up.
Now Victor knows that she should not have any drugs.
Right. That was his point. He wanted to know what he gave her so that he could have it for her file because she should not get that again.
No.
So they go up to Victor's office, Henry, Illy, and Victor. And he tells them that their mission the previous night was a suicidal mission anyways, because they never would have been able to turn the scrambler off regardless because it's on a satellite and it's not
even
possible.
There.
Yeah, it's not even there.
And the only way to turn it off is Victor's
with a code that only he has.
And he doesn't even have it written down anywhere. It's just in his noggin. In his head.
Yep.
And then it just keeps getting crazier.
So he calls Q to prove who he is so that Henry can talk to him.
And if you thought Henry was unhinged for telling him that he works for Q, wait till the phone call with Q.
It was so sad. Because, like, poor Suzette answered the phone, and we find out that Q and Tess have a little boy, and it was such a nice little part. And then, bam, slap us in the face because Henry is all, like, taunting to Q and been like, I'm here now, fucker.
Basically, like, I'm going to fucking
kill you. Yeah.
I'm going to kill you. Like,
and then Illy's in the background, like, help, please. My name is Ileana Sharma. My father is so and so. Please tell Krish that I'm. Until Victor shuts her off and shuts the phone off.
You dumb bitch.
I didn't think that was a dumb move.
Okay, but if Victor didn't know certain things about her, he does now.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. That part was dumb. Yes, but she had to try. Q had to be able to. I
understand.
Yes, that part, yes. She regrets it later. Yes.
You dumb idiot. She does a lot of stupid shit. I liked her when she was silent. She didn't say dumb things. Sorry.
Poor Q. He's like, I'm coming for you, Ileana. I'll find you. I'll kill my brother for what he's done to you. Like, oh, cute.
And Henry's just like,
Okay, bro.
good
Come for
luck.
me. Yeah.
Actually, just playing the long game at this point. Watch it turn around and be
Well, what
like,
else can he do?
I,
Like, how else could he have gotten out of that and live? You know what I mean?
yeah, I'm like torn between thinking he's faking it or he just really is now just gone.
That's where I was at with this
I
one. I
was
was like,
like, God,
I
I
held out
fucking,
hope because in my head, because I was like, that was the only thing he could do, like to survive. So, like, he's got to do something.
yeah, it was either it like at this point, I'm like, dude, he's either like just telling it so that he doesn't die, or this man has literally snapped and he doesn't give two fucks anymore. And he's just accepting who he is and he's just accepting being here and having a grand old time.
And so Victor is all like, glad I didn't have to kill you to Henry. And he's like, keep being who you truly are. Share all your parts, not just the dark and disturbing. Allow yourself to be vulnerable. Allow yourself to be happy. And perhaps one day that lifetime membership you fought so hard to earn might turn into something far more. And Henry's like, what? He's like, I'm in need of an heir, aren't I? Eventually. And he's like, can I go back to my room? Do you trust me with my jewel? And he's like, you have full reign of my home. I know there's no escape by Scrambler or by Brother. You're locked here by choice. I no longer demand anything of you. You're free to do as you choose. We can settle the funds another day. And so Henry takes Illy back to his room, and they're so exhausted by all of these events that they literally sleep for 3 days straight. Like they just pass out for 3 days. They wake up a couple times to eat and pass back out, and that's kind of it. So when they finally are kind of mostly awake, Illy's in the shower and Henry decides to join her. And Henry makes it clear that he controls her and that he is who he is now, and she needs to accept that. And she vows that she's going to break him first. And she decides that she's going to take some of the control from him because obviously her body reacts to him, even though she doesn't want it to. So she decides to use him and fuck him right back, thinking that she can kind of take that away from him. It backfires because that just makes him think that she wants him.
Billy does so
So
many things.
she's trying. She's at least
Mhm.
trying. And it doesn't really work. And she's like, vows to find his greatest weakness. And she's like, I think your greatest weakness is love. You're lonely. You've been lonely forever. And he keeps saying, like, I want you to be like my wife. I want you to be a part of me. Like, we're
Like
together
my
now
wife?
forever.
No, he wants her to be his wife,
Yeah.
not
We're going to
like
be
my wife.
together forever now. Neither one of us can leave. You are mine. This is it. And she's like, you'll never be able to buy that. You'll never be able to make me love you. We'll only ever be enemies. He's like, play with me, little nightmare, because my greatest weakness is you. And the day that you understand that is the day our true games begin. So they go down to hang out for the day at this like pond area away from everybody. And she basically decides to ignore him. And she's going to figure out what she can do to break him. She's working on that. But in the meantime, she's not going to give him anything. You know, if he wants the slave, she'll be the slave and that's it. He's not going to get the companion from her. He's not going to get the wife from her. He's not going to get the connection from her. And going to feed into that loneliness piece that she really thinks is the ticket.
Yep.
And Victor finds them there. And he's like, finally, was beginning to think you guys had died in your room. Well, it had been 3 days.
That is true.
And he's like, don't worry. I had everyone wait for the scavenger hunt that Peter set up. Everyone knows that they had to wait for you guys to come out. That sounds ominous. And he's
Bit
like,
ominous.
Ileana, what a pretty name. It clicks for her that he's saying that because she said her full name to Q. And she's like, don't hurt them. And she's like, let me go. I have to get back to him. And he's like, him. And so Victor rattles off. He's like, she's got an autistic brother at home who hasn't spoken since she left for Paris. She's going feral. She's like,
I mean,
you better not fucking touch them. Don't worry. As long as you behave, I have no reason to hurt them.
yep.
And she just gives him the middle finger.
I love it. But I'm like sitting here like,
I know.
stop,
I know.
stop.
I know. And Victor's just kind of looks at him. He's like, how's the discipline and training going?
Great.
Great. Clearly, you need some help. And so he's like, let's get this business out of the way. It's like, my first question is, can your brother access the funds that he gave you? And he's like, no, it's in my name. Like, he can see everything through like statements and stuff, but he can't get into it. And he's like, perfect. In that case, I'm not in any rush. Let's agree that the day of your initiation is the day you pay me. Fair? And he's just, what kind of thing? He's like, you're on probation. I'm open to giving you a lifetime membership. He's like, I'm aware that if I sent you away, Q would kill you. So for now, you have my blessing to stay. And seeing as you're rather attached to your jewel, I'll agree to extend your exclusivity for the foreseeable future. None of the other guests are willing to match the 2 million that you originally paid, so I'm willing to allow it. There's just one tiny thing. When the time comes, I'm getting a taste. When I give the request to fuck her, you will not put up a fight. Do you hear me? And he's kind of like, fuck, but he agrees.
Yep. Ugh.
And yeah. And he's walking away. He's like, don't waste that erection. Make her work for it. See you guys at dinner.
Oh my God.
And he like takes out, she's like, I'll bite you.
Again, stop it. Illy, knock it off. Shut up. Because here's the thing, her continuously acting like this
Is not helping.
is not helping her situation literally at all.
No. So he's all like, I'm done trying to be a hero. You want me to treat you like a slave? I will treat you like a slave. And
he does. And
he's like, you're wet. Like, it's like, obviously your body likes me. And she's like, you deserve to be alone. She's like, no one loves you because you're utterly unlovable. You deserve to be alone. And then she looks up at him and sees his face and instant regret, realizing how she's changing and how terrible she's becoming. And he's like, nah, it's fine. I deserve that. And you're right. Thank you for reminding me.
again,
I've been too soft on you. One time I asked you to play along with me, but I can see now that only you can make that choice. I can't make it for you. And no matter how much I beg, it's not working. So here's a little lesson. You decide, little nightmare. A decision that will ensure your life here is heaven or hell. The decision to play along with me as my wonderful, obedient wife, or to be forced to submit as my badly broken slave. He's like, I'm going to give you 10 strikes, 5 to get you to think about this, and 5 to punish you for thinking you could manipulate me. Once you've screamed and your skin is bright red, you'll get on your knees and blow me. If you satisfy me, I'll grant you one request. I'll repay you for your obedience, and you'll learn that it isn't bad to belong to me. If you play with me, I'll play with you. We can have more than what the others have. We can have sex, but we can also have closeness. And if I'm perfectly fucking honest, which I always stupidly am with you, that's the part I want the most. I want to feel connected. But if you deny me my closeness, then maybe you're right. Maybe my suggestion of monogamy is ridiculous and I should just revoke my exclusivity and give you to the others. So she does. She blows him and blows him good. And she feels like
she basically sucks
once
the
again
soul out of this
tries to
man.
take power again, even after this speech.
She needs to stop.
Yeah. But she's like, fine, I will be the slave. And she's like, is that everything, Master H? She's like, I sucked your cock. You promised me a favor in return. He's like, what do you want? And she's like, to get away from you. No, she didn't say that, but she did in her head. But
Like,
she didn't say it out loud. She did say it in her head, but she didn't say it out loud to him. She's like, to see the other jewels. So he said, you can have until dinner to go hang out with them, as long as you are at my feet at dinner.
When he said that, I totally thought he was going to use her as a footstool. I
Yep.
know. I'm just saying. In my brain, I was like, oh, cool. Okay. Using her as furniture now sounds lovely.
So at dinner, she is dutifully kneeling at his feet. She is there and she's compliant and doing what she's told, but she's not giving him any attention. It's not fun for him. And he's like, I missed her during those hours that she was gone. And he feels like sad about it.
This is like one of two feelings currently.
So
Yep.
they have dinner and another show. In between him feeding her, he's all like, "Did you have a nice afternoon?" She's like, "No." They were all serving, so I was alone. And he's like, "You could have been with me." She's like, "Thank goodness not."
Yep. Shut up. Guys, shut up.
And then we learn that Victor actually does collect real jewels.
Yep.
As a side business. So yes,
He's not a jeweler
is
though.
one of his businesses that
He
he
just
does.
collects jewels.
Yeah, that's kind of like a jeweler.
No.
I mean, one of his businesses is collecting and selling jewels.
Jeweler does jewelry.
Whatever, I'm still taking it.
Okay. He's just a psycho.
He is. And Henry is getting pretty sick of Illy's aloofness at dinner. And he's like,
You know who else is getting really sick of fucking Ellie's thing? Victor.
yeah. Henry's like, "I'll tell you what, I'm going to touch you. If you're dry and truly feel no attraction toward me, I'll put you down, feed you every mouthful of this delicious dinner, then allow you to go to bed unmolested.
Didn't like that.
If you're not, if you're wet as I think you are, if you're as sensitive and ready to snap as I believe, well then, I'm tossing that dinner into the storm and having you as my meal instead, right here on your back where everyone will watch me eat you out, and then I'll fill you up." They're inside for dinner because there is a huge
Raging
thunderstorm
thunderstorm.
raging. Yeah, she's still trying. She's still grasping at straws. She's all like, "I'm sorry your childhood turned you into this creature."
Shut the fuck up, Ellie.
Because he finds her wet. So he swipes the table and puts her on it, and she's lashing back.
I don't
And
care. Shut the fuck up.
she's like, "You don't have the
Farthest idea.
faintest idea how far I'll go to one day be free of you." And so she once again tries to use him. She tries to turn the tables again and tries to start fucking him. And he's like, "She's using me like a freaking drawer dildo and isn't even like paying me any mind."
And to do that in front of all of those people,
I know. She's like, "I'm wet because I choose to be, not because you made me."
not really something you should be doing
No.
as a slave. Come the fuck on.
Yeah. So
Okay.
she gets off and he doesn't. Because before he gets to finish, she kind of like stops. And once she cries out, there's this stupid idiot who thinks he must have finished because clearly that's, a thing. So there's this guy with like this gong, like, yeah, because all these stupid barbaric men have just been waiting for Henry to get out of his room and fuck this girl so that they can do their stupid treasure hunt. And Victor's like, "Not now. Like, what is wrong with you? Can't you see the storm? And can't you see what's happening? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck?" And Victor is not happy.
No.
He's like, "You idiot." He's like, "We'll play tomorrow." And the guy's like, "We're playing now."
Oh, good lord.
He's like, "You said we had to wait for Henry to stop napping."
They're just chomping at the bit for whatever this scavenger hunt is.
Victor just takes a deep breath and it's like, "Fine, you guys want to be idiots? You can be idiots."
Can
And
I
he's
be
like,
really honest with you right now? Victor makes a really good villain, and I'm really not mad about him.
"No."
Kind of like him
Yeah.
in a
his own
weird,
weird way.
fucked up way. I would make a reference, but you wouldn't
He's
even
like,
understand what
he's
I'm
like
saying.
Scar. He's like, "I'm surrounded by idiots." He's like Scar with
Yeah.
all the freaking hyenas.
I was gonna
He's
make
literally Scar with the hyenas.
I literally was gonna make a video game reference, but you wouldn't understand it. So
Okay, well, I made a reference you could understand. So there we go.
yeah.
He's really bad, but like you also kind of understand like his deranged mentality, and like he's also surrounded by idiots. So like
I don't understand his deranged mentality. He's just a really good villain, and like that's it. I don't understand him at all. None of this makes sense. How did he turn? Where's Victor's book? Victor
where's
turn
his
into this.
backstory? Yeah.
Pepper, can you write that? I do want to know why Victor is the way he is. Maybe we'll get that
find out.
story. Who
Yeah.
knows?
We still have 2 more books.
I know.
Okay. So he's like, "You have 1 hour. Outside, scattered around the grounds, Peter has hidden multiple prizes. Some contain gifts like diamonds, cash, a movie, a cheeseburger. They are searching for plastic gemstones with little papers inside."
It's like an egg hunt, kind of.
It's Yeah. And he's like, each can be cashed in at your discretion. He's like, and of course, there's prizes for my wonderful guests too. A night in the snuff room with no cameras or controls, new toys, a day in the dungeons, a day with my permission to do anything that they wish. Oh, and one diamond kiss. There's that diamond kiss mentioned again.
I'm telling you, Diamond Kiss means you can just murder anybody.
Yep. That's
The
what
only
we've
reason
come
I
to
say
the
that is
conclusion
because
of.
the rules are you cannot kill anybody. So I'm assuming that the Diamond Kiss is the one.
That's, yeah.
And honestly, in context from the way they keep talking about it, it is basically like free for all to just murder.
So he sends them all to the storm, but he pulls Henry aside. So he's delayed a little bit. And he's like, that jewel of yours might be sweet, but she's psychotic. She ruled you. We all fucking saw it. Get it together, or I will be the one to take her down to the dungeons and fix her.
This is why Ellie needs to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. So they're all running in this storm. And Illy manages to find a, for lack of a better word, an Easter egg, but it's like a plastic gem. And she basically trips over it. And so she grabs it, but somebody grabs it out of her hand and grabs her also and pushes her forward. It's Peter. And she's like, what's going on? Where are we going? And Peter is like almost hysterical. Like, we have to find it. We have to find the diamond kiss. He purposefully didn't put the diamond kiss out. And Victor noticed or saw and put it out and hid it for him. So Peter has no idea where it is. And he's like, if we don't find it before Master does, someone's going to die. So obviously, we've come to that conclusion.
The final game.
Yeah. The final countdown.
Okay, we need to not do that
It's
ever
like
again.
someone is going to die if we don't find that diamond kiss.
Yep.
So that's why we keep coming to this conclusion. And Illy over here doesn't understand the magnitude of the diamond kiss. So while Peter's frantic trying to find this gemstone,
Mhm.
Illy is trying to convince Peter to start an uprising. Because she's like, there's more of us than there are of them. Why don't we just fight back? I've seen the room that has weapons in it. Like, we can just fight back.
No, you can't. No. It's not how that works.
So, and then all of a sudden, well, what have we found here, boys? And there's three men that approach them from the shadows. And Peter's trying to like block her, but they're very interested in Illy because obviously Henry has been very, no one can touch, no one can touch. And Peter's trying to like dissuade them. It's like, how about this? No one has found the diamond kiss yet. Keep searching. And the guy's like, if I wanted to kill someone, I could just kill right now. He's asked one of the other guys, like, you want to murder someone tonight, or you want to stick your cock in the forbidden jewel? How about we fuck both and kill both?
Because if one of them tells Victor, they'll
Mhm.
die because they're not supposed to technically touch her.
He's like, we'll only get in trouble once. Won't be like a,
Hate this man.
He's like, I've got one of the guards on a bribe retainer. He'll give me his gun if we choose to shoot. I was like, oh my
Okay.
God. And then so Peter's like, fine, we can do it. We'll fight back.
Yeah, he snaps now too.
Yeah. So then both of them flail themselves at these men. And
Not a great
like
idea.
Peter, no. And she gets a good punch in though.
She does. Well, she's a little bit more scrappy than Peter.
She really is. They are like pummeling Peter. And she's like, nope, okay. I'm choosing this. Don't fight. You can have me. And she's like, let Peter go. If you agree not to kill either one of us, no one will tell anyone what happens here tonight. Let Peter go and I won't fight you. And they tie Peter to a tree. And Larry says he's going first.
Oh, Larry. Oh, God. Yeah.
And she just disconnects and dissociates. So meanwhile, Henry is fighting his way through the storm. He was delayed, so he didn't get to run right after her. And the visibility is difficult because it's a fucking storm and it's really coming down. And out of the corner of his eye, he sees some men with a jewel on the ground. He kind of has a fleeting thought of that poor girl. He knows it can't be his because she's off limits. But then he just has a feeling because he has this pull towards her, this like energy. He's like, oh no, it better not be kind of thing. And he gets closer and he sees that it is Illy. And he snatches the one on her. It says he throws him straight in the air and he catches him before he lands and slams him with inhuman strength to the ground. And he grabs his dick and tears it. He grabbed his dick
I
and
choose to
fucking
believe
yanked.
that he yanked his dick off.
Me too,
He did
but-
not, but I wish he did because that man fucking deserved it.
And then he fucking choked him. And then he's fucking like snapped one of the other one's neck and threw him aside. He's fucking
He lost it
plowing through these guys.
for good
Carnage
fucking
style.
reason, though,
Yeah.
because they touched what was his, even though he's losing his mind. I don't even fucking know anymore. Just
If you had told me last year that you just said that a man going carnage style on 3 men, snapping necks and tearing dicks off because someone touched what was his for good reason, quote unquote, from Crystal, you would have told me I was a liar.
sometimes there's good reason, but sometimes there's definitely not. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway,
It's okay. So he's interrupted from his killing frenzy from guards surrounding them saying, stop.
dumb.
And then the only one left conscious is going, this man attacked us. Bitch, please.
Bitch, please.
And he's all like, just, Ileana, like, come here. Like, and the guards are, don't move, kind of. He's like, fuck that shit. And
That shit.
Victor rolls up. He's like, Henry, what is the meaning of this? And they touched what was mine. And then he's like, who the fuck tied Peter to a tree in a lightning storm?
He's
Trying to turn him into a
really fucking
barbecue?
pissed about that too. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's like, she makes me irrational. Victor's like, I'm getting too old for this fucking shit. He's like, these two need to be airlifted to the hospital. If they're dead, you and I are going to be having another fucking conversation. Just go to bed before I shoot you.
I mean,
He brings Illy back to his room. He's like, how close did he get? Did he succeed? He's like, no, he just breached, but he didn't get any further. And she's mad. She's like, it's your fault. She's like, you stole me. You brought me here. You're the reason that I'm here.
shut up. I don't know why she makes me just so irrationally angry.
But she's also, on
sometimes.
the other hand, like, thank you for saving me. Like, she has
Great
both
for
sides
her.
here.
Shut the fuck up.
She's like, look, it's over. I'm fine. Thanks to you. He didn't hurt me. Thanks to you. I'm grateful. Like, you can't get angry at me for pointing out the truth. Like, I wouldn't be here if you didn't bring me here.
Good for you.
And he's like, we're meant to be together. And she's like, no, like, my body may want you, but my mind won't. And he's like, our sex is perfect, but the rest, the stuff that knots our souls together is shit. Like, excuse me? She's like, allow me to tell you my honest feelings. I like you, as awful as it is, and as much as I don't want to. I like you. I like the man I see right here standing before me, the man who rescued me, who looks at me as if I'm infinitely precious, the man who knows right from wrong. The moment I saw you in Paris, I felt something strong and nonsensible, and you took my breath away. You made butterflies swarm in my stomach. Maybe it was destiny, maybe it was fate, maybe we knew each other in a different life. Maybe that's why you felt so familiar. But then you gave me to Victor, and all those maybes died. We might have been happy. Maybe we might have dated and fallen in love. Maybe we might have gotten married. Maybe we would have lived happily ever after. Maybe. And he's like, we can still have those maybes. Just because our relationship isn't conventional doesn't mean the moment you turned your back on us, the moment you refused to save the jewels, you made an unforgivable choice, a choice to become one of them and forsake us all. Thank you for saving me. Thank you for stopping him. And the first time since you chose to stay here, I see a glimmer of goodness still inside you. I wish that goodness would win. I wish you'd remember why you came here, but I know that most wishes don't come true. So I will accept who you are, not the man I wish you would become. A part of me will always be grateful to you for protecting me despite everything else you do. But I need you to see that what you did tonight was for your benefit, not mine. You saved me for yourself. You saved me because you think I belong to you, not because you care. He's like, you do belong to me. She's like, no, I don't. She's like, you're lost. You're all alone. You were born alone. You will die alone. And while you keep me against my will, you will stay alone.
He doesn't like that very much.
Nope. Nope. So she tells him she's going to be the slave that he thinks she is. She's going to serve him the way that He thinks she should, so that neither of them forgets who that they should be. And now he's sitting here like, am I that unlovable that even the girl that I'd kill for wants nothing to fucking do with me?
So
Now
now
he's
he's
like,
going through a crisis.
yeah, now he's like in his head, like, she's always gonna hate me. Like, fuck. He's like, fuck this, fuck connection. She wants to be my slave? Well, fine. She can be my slave. Like, he keeps having these like little bits that he might go like have a moment, and then he's like doubles down, and I'm like, ah.
Ariel was having an internal crisis too.
Yep. Yep. He decides to take her up on that then. And well, you want to be my slave so badly? So be it. He's like, I need you to know something. If I'm a sadist, if I'm finally ready to admit that, you who responds to me so well, and you who meets me every chance you get, you are nothing more than an angry, dirty little masochist. And she's like, what the?
Honestly, she's dumb because she goes, I never. I am not that. I'm like, bitch, I knew
Right.
this.
That word sits there and like unlocks so much for her. And she's like, it's a terrible thing to be in lust with your enemy. And he gets so just obsessed with what he's doing, and he's got no blinders on. He's just no holds barred. He's going all in. He's like, fine, I'll show her. I'll show her what a masochist she is. She's like, and he's just going at it, and he's like all the feels, balls deep, and
Literally.
literally. And he fucking has so much emotion and pent up shit, and he fucking kisses her. And she's just like, he stole a kiss, but he gave me his soul. Then he fucks up because he says, I need you to come for me, little dream, because you
Uh-oh.
want me just as much as I want you. And then
Oh.
yeah. And then that word gets her out of the moment. And she's like, what? And then that makes him realize that he swapped the word. And then they both realize. And then she's like, no, stop. But he's just too far in, and he's like, I've been wanting to kiss you for so long every day. And he just keeps kissing her. And she's like, stop. And he's like, come with me. And he just keeps going. He's like, and she's like, let me go. And she's scratching at him. And he keeps going until they both literally come together. And she's still telling him, stop. And she's like, my heart was a traitor, my body, my biggest enemy. She's like, Henry, just let me go. And with the clarity of being done, his eyes snap back. He just sees the look in her eyes, and he's like, what the fuck? The fuck did I just do? Like, why did I kiss her? She told me to stop. Did I not hear her? How had I lost myself in her so completely? Like, what the fuck? I'd felt more from a single kiss than I had my entire fucking life. And instead of feeling the same connection, she looked at me as if I destroyed her. And
Because now
he
he's
is
basically just as bad as those other
spiraling.
people.
Yep. He is fucking spiraling. And he just sees like his marks all over her, up her throat, his bite marks. And he's just like losing himself in his head. He's like, just go to bed, and locks himself in the bathroom. He's like, I need space. I need to get a fucking grip before I kill her, because she just fucking killed me.
Which is like the first sign of his humanity we've had in a while.
Yeah.
Because that humanity went right out the fucking window. And now it's like peeking back in. And this is when I'm like, oh, fuck, come on, Henry, stop doing this to me. Like, I was cool with you just being basically dead inside, but now you actually really do have feelings and
Bad
shit.
guy. And then snap. So then we don't see them for 3 days. 3 days later, Victor comes back from his trip. After the whole storm massacre debacle, Victor had to go away for 3 days. So now he's back. Everyone, the slaves, the masters, have been avoiding Henry and Illy. And Henry has been mostly ignoring and avoiding Illy. He's been reading and holding himself up since his weird crack epiphany from the kiss. And Victor finds him, and he's like, where did you learn to fight like that? And he's like, there must be some kind of training you've had. And he's like, no, I just snapped. Like, I was feeling murdery. Like, never had any training. And he's like, well, Larry was pronounced dead at 5 a.m.
Yep.
He died of a ruptured penis, if you must know. Apparently, whatever trauma you delivered created a hematoma that burst. He bled out before they could operate. And the other guy will not walk again because he snapped his neck. So he's not dead yet, but he's very paralyzed.
Yeah.
He's like, lucky for you, I was informed that they told someone about the location of the island. And I don't need to tell you how big of a deal that is. And so I was going to take care of them myself, but you took care of it. So normally that would be a problem, but lucky for you, you kind of did me a favor.
Yep.
And this makes Henry question, like how many guests actually know the location? Because when they flew in, they weren't allowed to know.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, why do you want it? Henry's like,
Kind of.
I won't deny I'm curious. It's my no home. It'd be nice to know where I live,
Mm.
Victor's like, if you're still curious after a decade, I'll tell you. He's like, thanks to you, though. There's far too much pent up testosterone in here. I'll take part of the blame for introducing Illy to my guests and then forbidding them to touch her. But you made it worse by breaking my laws and flouting her around. Things are not balanced. And if monsters are to play nice, there must always be balance. He's like, I need new jewels. Normally, if I could trust you, I'd take you out of here and make, you go get some for me. But I know that if you left here, your brother would kill you. So instead, I'm having some flown in. While we wait for them, we have some other business to take care of. And since you can't help me there, I will have you help me in other areas. I appreciate this new skill set that you obviously have with this fighting. And he's like, what do you mean? And it's like, you turned out to be a gift that keeps on giving. If you stay here, you got to work here, kind of thing. What do you expect me to do? He's like, kill? Like, who do you expect me to kill? And then all of a sudden, Victor's favorite jewel gets brought in. Now, this whole time, Victor has had the same jewel. She has been off limits to everyone else. She is his favorite. And she does not look good right now. She is very obviously beat up, broken, bruised, not doing so good. And Henry's like, what? You want me to kill your jewel? I thought she was your favorite. Like, what's going on? And
Well,
yes. Well, apparently she has a problem. She's pregnant. And it can't possibly be his. So it's her problem and her fault. And Henry's like, you told me yourself that you make sure they get all their birth control shots. That's not 100% effective. And you told me yourself that you don't loan her to anyone. How long has it been since she's been with anyone but you? And he's like, months. And how far along is she? Well, only 6 weeks or so. So she's carrying your child. And he's like, well, I don't want it. So you need to do something about it. And he's like, you said you were in need of an heir. Like, there's your goddamn heir. There's your heir, Vic. Your blood, your kin. He's like trying to figure out how not to fucking kill this pregnant slave. And he's like, fine. If she doesn't miscarry from the beating I gave her and survives today's game, then I'm open to the discussion. He's like, the new jewels will take time to arrive, but I need to eradicate the tension today. So we're going to play a game. And he's like, Rachel and Illy can go get ready. So they head off. And he's like, we're going to play something I like to call Emerald Bruises. And I have been remiss in helping you break Ileana. I'm hoping that today will help her. And Henry, we learn, has been trying for 3 days to sink back into his monster's darkness. But each time, all he can do is see that look in her eyes. And he says it's kept him feeling awfully fucking human. That's not good. So they head out to join the other masters so they can go over the housekeeping of the games. And he tells the masters that everything's okay, that Henry has been forgiven for the little brawl, so everyone can be happy with him again, because that's why they were all avoiding him, because they didn't know what verdict Victor was going to have. And he lets Henry tell them that they're going to play Emerald Bruises today. And then Victor goes on to tell them
the rules are going to be a little bit different this time.
yes. He's like, we're going to play the game a little differently. I'm aware that some of you might be feeling a little tad, shall we say, stifled under all the rules. And so my gift to you today is no rules.
Which is not good.
Yes.
Which, in case you're curious, means nothing is literally off limits for whoever wins. So basically, the winner gets to just do whatever they want, including murder. So you're welcome.
Yeah, they're all like chiming in. They're like, even mutilation? Yep. Asphyxiation? Yep. Death? What about that? And he's like, you hunt to eat, don't you? You shoot to kill, yes. Well, my beloved friends, today is that hunt. Today is that kill. So yes, whoever wins this game has my unequivocal permission to do whatever he fucking wants. My gems have been protected by my rules for long enough and deserve a refresher for just how good they have it. So whoever wins Emerald Bruises, literally fair game, whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
So they learn that they're going to be using paintball guns and they are each going to have their own color. And whoever paints the jewel with the most bruises and their color wins the game. So we find Rachel, Victor's favorite jewel, and Illy in the kitchens. The staff is helping them. They snuck them some protein bars so that they can have a fair chance. And they head out to get prepared, and we see Peter. We learn that during this 3 days, while Illy and Henry have kind of been avoiding everyone in the rooms and stuff, Peter has been suffering in, we assume, the snuff box, but it wasn't exactly spelled out, but we're assuming. And we learn that his hands and his feet have been burned to a black charred crisp. He has drugged himself up so much to be able to tolerate this because he can't get out of this game. So he's going to have to run on his charred feet when he couldn't even stand before. So he had to take enough drugs that he could numb himself through it. Not allowed to wear shoes for it, nothing. But he's so drugged up that he's confessing all. So we learned that, yes, we were right. He is obsessed with Illy and loves Illy. And yeah, buddy, not cool. Not cool. So they all get put in this like nude underwear and have bullseyes painted on them. Yeah. And Peter is running around spouting about the uprising that he thinks that him and Illy are now coordinating for all of the slaves because of that storm night, but he's so drugged up that he thinks it's now a possibility. And he's flauntingly like yelling this out to all the cameras, the guards, everything. And everyone's like, shut the fuck up. And Rachel, the favorite jewel, is sitting here like, dude, I'm in. I fucking can't have this child here. Like, count me the fuck in. Whatever you guys are doing, count me the fuck in. And Illy is like, fuck. So, with all their bullseyed selves, they head out to what's called the drawbridge. Everyone's waiting and set up, and Victor starts his little spiel. He shows them the remote for the shot callers. He shows them that it's turned off. He's like, here's what's going to happen. You have all disappointed me. You're spoiled, lazy. I have been far too lenient with you.
I mean, he is also not wrong. He's a psychopath. Not wrong.
He's like, the barriers aren't there tonight. The fences aren't up. The collars aren't up. If you choose, the cliffs are right there.
You can jump off of them.
Jump for all I care. End your life, the life I so painstakingly nurture and tend. If you don't appreciate everything I fucking do for you, fine. You're free.
It's a trap.
Yeah, don't do that.
All I could think of is like, don't do that. Don't do that.
And one of them is, well, like, if we come back, we have a fresh start. Transgressions are paid. We move forward fresh. Thank you. Okay, thank you, sir. And he's like,
well,
oh,
he's
good
instilled
Lord.
such fear into them. That's a very valid
Mhm.
question and a very valid fear.
And Henry's sitting there warring in himself because he's like, all I care about is Illy. I don't care if any of these others do that. And then he's like, in his head, he's like, oh, Q would disagree. Fuck Q. No, fuck, crap. And
So
he's
now,
back in his, yeah.
Yep. So yes, he's now slowly starting to, it's just, he spent most of this book just off the rails and now it's starting to like come back. So
And he wants to show the slaves what they're going to be dealing with today. So he tells Henry to shoot one of them with the paintball guns. And so, of course, he lines up for Peter because fuck Peter until he sees his blackened hands and feet. And he's like, what the fuck did you do to him?
and now he starts realizing, because Illy has always told him, I see him as a brother. I do not see him romantically. I see him as a brother.
And
He's
well,
starting to
so
come through that
yeah.
haze too because
So
of this.
yes. So when he lined up his sight, he saw So he saw Illy step kind of forward in like that protective stance, and he had a flashback. And almost his whole life, he has not been able to remember anything about his childhood. Meeting Q was such a big deal because he could not remember anything from those days. We knew from Q's point of view how he was housed as a child and what the conditions were and how many of them there were. But he could not remember any of this. So he had a flashback of living like at the father's place where all of his father's slaves were kept and the extra place that all the children of the slaves were kept. And all of a sudden he's like, wait a second, I have siblings. I have lots of siblings, not just Q. I have lots of siblings. And he realizes that their connection, all these slaves together, they are forming together as one pack of siblings, like he did when he was younger with his siblings, because that is their only way of survival and being together. So he does what he can do, and he shoots a paintball at Illy's leg, and he goes, there. Now she has my color. No one else touch what's mine. And Victor's like, unfortunately, Henry, today the rules are different. He's like, the stakes today, gentlemen, are worth it. Because my own personal favorite, Rachel, is available to anyone who can fire the most shots at her. And Henry's, the forbidden jewel that started this war, is also free game. And he is like, what the actual fuck? And this is Victor's way of like getting her in line and stuff and getting them both in line. And he has no choice but to be like, no objections. And he's kind of gives her that look and nods at her and like, I will fight for you. I will make this, like, and he's like, in that case, you do the honors. And he gives him the gun to start the race, which is also going to slow him down a little bit. He tells the Jules, you have a 15-minute head start, 15 minutes before the countdown begins. And Henry puts the gun in the air, shoots it to get the start of the event. And he's like, I'm going to win this game. I'm going to become the worst fucking nightmare to triumph over all the other beasts. I'm going to cut away the strings of feelings and sink deep down into the black-fanged creature within me. Who knew if I'd ever become human again? Who knew what I would do out there? All I knew is I'm done. She needs to run. She needs to run now. Because they're all just kind of standing there because they don't know what to do. And he's like, go. And the clock starts down. They all run. That's how this book fucking ends. Again. A fucking again. We have to wait for Sapphire Scars to play this fucking game. Oh, Popper, you're killing me softly. Except fucking me brutally.
Wait, sweet baby Jesus.
I was on the edge of my seat the whole fucking time.
Oh man.
I need you to know that.
I assumed.
This was a doozy.
This was a doozy. Yeah.
It was a fucking doozy.
It
The doozy. Man. Like, and like, is Henry gonna sink back down again? Is he gonna come out?
Two more
into the
fucking
light?
books.
Right. What's gonna happen?
Literally no idea. Because I didn't expect Henry to go that far off the deep end in this book. And he was like, all right, peace out, bitch.
And what's gonna happen between him and Q eventually?
Yeah, because Q's very set on murdering his brother right now.
Mhm.
Understandably so. His
Right?
brother kind of really, ugh.
How do we feel about Peter?
I feel really bad for Peter.
I feel like Peter makes his own bed.
Yes.
The way you feel like Illy does that shit, I feel like Peter does that shit. Peter needs to fucking keep his dick to himself.
Okay, so here's the thing. A lot of the things that Peter does is to, and other jewels have called it out, is he's doing it to protect the other jewels. Whereas Illy, when she's doing stuff, she's just protecting herself.
Yes, but Peter has he even says it when he's drunk. He's like, we're going to go out on a date. We're going to get out of here. I'm going to take you out. Like, Peter has reasons. Like, he has his little, Peter wants Illy. And that they even say, like, he doesn't act that way towards the other jewels and about the other jewels. Like, he has caused so much chaos because he's obsessed with her. It's not the same as the other jewels.
I don't know. I still feel bad.
I feel like he's made his bed. I don't probably hate him as much as the last book, but I still think he made his
That's
bed.
part of it too. I don't hate him as much as I hated him in the last book.
I think
He's still
stupid.
not my favorite, but I do feel bad because at the same time, some of Illy's actions have caused Peter to get punished.
If he was minded his own goddamn business, he wouldn't have left her alone. Do you disagree?
A little bit.
Which parts would he have
Well,
gotten
if
punished?
he had left her alone while she was out in the maze, we would have a
He
very
found
different
right. No, yes, right, but he wouldn't have gotten punished.
Yeah, but he was trying to help her not get raped.
No, he pulled her along with her. She might not even have been there where the guys were because he yanked her and pulled her where she didn't want to go because he wanted her with him so he could keep an eye on her while he was trying to find the diamond kiss. But I do want to say something I forgot to mention, that while Henry was scooping Illy back up after that whole storm debacle, he also found a jewel, a plastic jewel that one of the men had dropped, not the one that Peter had, but one of the men had dropped one and he scooped it up and brought it back in.
Too? I thought
Peter took it.
Oh.
That's what he ripped out of her hands.
Oh, that's right. How
And
much you want to bet the one that he found is a diamond kiss?
that's where I was going with
that's
that.
exactly what it is.
That's where I was going with that. They didn't even open it. They just brought it back to his room and he just tossed it aside. Bet you anything it's a diamond kiss.
It has to be.
It's going to go somewhere. Yeah. So who's your favorite character?
Doctor Lady.
It's so hard.
Yeah. I'm going to say the Doctor Lady again because she is doing all she can to prepare them for whatever she can to help them survive.
The kitchen staff is doing that too.
Staff itself, because they don't have to participate in literally any of this.
I guess.
How about you, Ariel?
It's a great question. I don't know. Like, I want it to be Henry. He was so not good in this book.
No. Not a good guy.
He's a bad guy. I guess I'll just say this support staff who actually are brave enough to try to help them.
Who's your least favorite? Also a hard question. I'm gonna go with the two guys.
Larry.
Which one's Larry?
The one that got his dick.
Gotcha. So yeah, I'm gonna say the two guys that cornered her at the maze and tried to. There was
three guys.
Three guys, whatever.
Yeah, and the other guy got his stuff. The guy who lived got his membership revoked.
The guy who lived. Sorry.
The boy who lived.
Not Harry Potter. All right. Obviously, we're not pulling Amazon and Goodreads reviews.
What did you rate it?
I gave it a 4.5. I like this one better than I liked the last one.
I agree.
I don't know if it was just the pacing of it that I just enjoyed more. There was just more. I understand that the first one is more world building and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I still liked this one better as much as I don't really enjoy Illy. This is evidenced by she just needs to shut the fuck up.
I feel like
she's in this situation and she's not fucking getting out. Just shut up.
I know, but I feel like what she's saying is like natural.
Every single time this bitch opens her mouth, something bad happens. Either to her or to people around her. And she doesn't understand the consequences of just stop talking. Like I think that's my issue with her is like, she's all like, oh, da, 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 and then everyone else has to deal with the consequences of her being an insubordinate little bitch. Like,
well, everyone had to deal with the consequences of Peter kissing her.
I understand that, but every other thing that she has done has caused why were all the jewels late? Because she had been crying her eyes out and
I don't think that's her fault.
And they all woke up because she was screaming and crying, and they were all comforting her.
She was
make
crying.
her feel better. I'm just saying. And because they were all comforting her to make sure like she felt better, they were all late.
You're victim blaming her for crying?
No, I'm just stating a lot of things that she has done throughout these books has caused consequences for everybody, not just her. And she's not thinking about it with everybody. She's just like, I'm going to do this. Fuck everybody else.
I
and
think that was a
everyone else
poor
gets punished
example.
for it.
You should have picked something else.
What?
I don't know. See, I don't agree with you, so that's why I don't know.
Oh, no, I just feel like if she would shut up.
Well, I rated this book 5 stars because I liked it better than the last one. And it was written while I didn't find any issues.
So long.
I know. The last one I did was January. And the last one before that was like December. But I don't think I've done one for us. So I couldn't find anything wrong with it. Like I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. And for me, I felt fucking everything. I don't know if that's positive or negative, but fucking there was so much. And I like books that make me like really like feel shit. And like even if I'm angry and frustrated. And I was fucking frustrated, Pepper. Thank you. I like books that make me feel. So I gave this 5 stars. I enjoyed this better than the last one. But again, like you said, the first one was the buildup.
Yeah. So it'll be
We don't know how the
interesting.
next one's going to go, but
I know, right? All right. How about survivability, Ariel?
I probably would have died in a rainstorm. Did I mention that my bitch ass doesn't run unless like
Don't run either. No, shit.
I would
It's
need incentive and my life is not incentive enough.
No. Listen, I would have also died. Don't know when I would have died. There's a lot. There's a lot of times in this book I would have died.
I definitely probably would have reacted the same way she did because I am also sensitive. So I probably would have probably died trying to flail with him cutting me open, but
Yeah. So the beginning of the book.
probably. I probably wouldn't have made it past
I would
the
have
beginning.
flailed my leg and he would have nicked that femoral artery.
That's what I mean. Like it would not have
quicker.
gone well. Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. So our quality of life would have been terrible because we would be dead.
Soup's dead.
Soup's dead.
Soup's dead.
Oh my God. Damn. So with that,
It is time. It's time for Sapphire Scars. The third installment in the Jewelry Box series is coming at you. Next week, we're going to talk about it.
Hell yeah, bitch. It'll be great. It'll be
It'll
so
be
good.
Great.
So great.
Super excited because once again, we were left on a cliffhanger.
Anyways, so join us next week as we delve into
Sapphire Scars by Pepper Winters.
Yes.
And make sure to keep reading.
And keep it smutty.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck.